Joe Barron, founder of Gray Matters Games. Welcome to the Founder Talk podcast, man. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
This is a different one, I'm not going to lie, and I'm excited about this. Your business is very unconventional compared to what we've had in the past, and unique. And so excited to dive in. Would you mind just giving the audience a little bit of context in terms of what you actually do, what your company does?
Yeah, we design and publish family and adult party games. We're on our 13th game called Cross the Line, and we've made it into over 10,000 stores worldwide.
Wow. Okay, so let's maybe break a couple of these down. Give me the high level of like, here we got a few of them in front. If you're watching on video, you can see these. We've got the game of Wolf, Choose Your Pack Wisely. Give me a quick rundown on what this one is.
So this was inspired by my favorite golf game, the game of Wolf, where you pick your partner based on their tee shot. If everyone hits a bad tee shot, you can go lone wolf and try to get double the points. Usually you're betting money in golf. So I put that to trivia. So you see the subject of the trivia, and if you're the wolf and you get NFL quarterbacks, maybe you pick me because I like sports, or you could go lone wolf against everybody at the table and try to get double the points in the game. So it's really a fun, like, multi-generational trivia game because maybe grandpa gets Disney princesses and he picks his granddaughter as his teammate. So, and the teams always change. So it's a really fun spin on trivia.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it says 4 to 12 players and then 14 and up.
Yeah.
So it's 14 and up because there's some inappropriate stuff in there, or is it just
no,
more
nothing
comprehension?
inappropriate.
Okay.
Just, a lot of common knowledge kind of things, but you do need a little bit more life experience to answer them.
Yeah.
You're getting into history and,
Unless they get the Disney princesses or something, Disney movies or something like that. But yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then what about the donut challenge? That reminds me of the K-Cups.
Yeah. Donut challenge is over 100 different minute to win it challenges using all these components that come in that donut box. So there's a giant inflatable donut. There's 2 coffee cups. There's ping pong balls or the donut balls. And then these squishy little toy donuts. And you do all these fun, like, minute to win it challenges. So, you might have to hold the inflatable donut and someone has to throw the ping pong ball through the hole and then you score. So
nice.
It's all fun and silly challenges.
Very cool. And then Cross the Line is the newest one. Is that out yet or no? No.
That one comes out in May.
Okay.
We got to keep it a little under wraps, but it's going into 2 major retailers, one in May and then one this fall. And that is our most unique game we've ever made. It's a very getting to know each other type game, but in a very creative and visual way.
Your games are really well designed too. Like just the look of them kind of pops and it tells a little bit of a story. Do you design those too?
We work with some very talented designers.
Yeah.
The game of Wolf came from a person in Schaumburg.
No way.
Named Idea Monster. Donut Challenge was mostly done by one of our graphic designers, Elena Lyons. And then Cross the Line was done completely by our now full-time designer, Sophia Riccardi.
And how did you get into all this? Because I was reading before you basically left corporate M&A strategy to build a gaming company.
Yes.
Like how does that even happen?
I came up with my first idea for a game on a family road trip through the Arizona desert with my mom and my wife are very competitive and they're like, come up with a game. And that set the premise for our first game called You Betcha. And we ended up kickstarting that game and that was successful and gave me enough confidence to go out and give it a run.
But there had to be a process to this, right? Because like you have one game, you start it, and then you decide, all right, I'm going to bring this to market because we're having fun playing it. Like, how does that go from the idea, creating the game, to then we're going to start a business out of this?
Yeah, so we got very lucky. A Google search brought me to Luis Diaz, who did the design for Wolf and You Betcha, and he was connected with a group. There was a store in the Chicago area called Marbles the Brain Store around the time when we were starting Gray Matters Games and actually went bankrupt and sold to Spin Master. And then we took some of the talent from them, like their head of production, their head of marketing, and they sort of help us launch Gray Matters Games. Without them, I didn't know what I was doing. So
I was going to say, it's like a completely different business.
Totally different.
Especially from the M&A world. I mean, I guess, yeah, because you're dealing with you're selling straight to consumers, It's completely different. What? Wow. So did you use money that you guys had to fund the business? Did you have to raise money? Like, how did you hire these people and come up with the money?
Yeah, it's been mostly self-funded. We did a small family and friends, but yeah, we've mostly bootstrapped. And then as you grow, now we have a line of credit in place and things like that because it's a heavy inventory business. So the more you grow, the more cash it takes.
When you lend money or when you have family that are investors, does that tarnish the relationship at all, or is there any friction there? I'm curious.
No.
Okay.
Not in our case. I'm sure it has in other cases.
Well, I bring it up because I was doing dinner with another founder.
Yeah.
And I think it just depends on it's case by case, and it's family member by family member, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned that he lent it out to, I think it was an aunt and uncle, and he was like 6 months down the road. They were asking, "Where's the return on investment? When are we getting?" Maybe not the right investor, but I'm curious if that just causes any like friction between you guys.
We haven't had any friction. I think we're very good at setting expectations and we communicate really well. And, for us, we've been saying the payoff is when we sell, right? Because the more that we grow, the more cash it takes as we're growing.
Right.
We don't want to be like paying out dividends and then, now we need to borrow more money at 8%. So I think we set that expectation up front and that we continue to grow and do well. So
I think that's important. Clear expectations and getting people that are going to be along for the ride long term. I think if someone's like, I want to invest and then a year later get my money, it's like, then just go invest in the S&P 500 or something, or crypto or something else, because it's probably not going to be that type of thing. You're investing in a startup at that point when you first started. And so what happened then? Let's play this out. The first couple of years, what were they like? You bring people over, you've got this new team, it's a brand new business. How are you coming up with the ideas for the games? Because you have the one, how do you get inspiration for the other ones?
Yeah, so the first few were my own ideas. And then we started reaching out into the inventor community. So, probably 4 or 5 of our titles now have been from outside inventors. And actually the largest inventor conference every year is in Rosemont. So,
really?
Yeah. So inventors from all over the world, publishers from all over the world come to the Embassy Suites in Rosemont, and it's literally like, speed pitching.
Yeah. Wow. When you look at games, like board games and any type of games like this, is there one that's in your mind iconic? Is there one in your mind that you're like, man, this is like the holy grail of games? Or maybe a couple that you look for to inspiration where you're like, they just nailed everything about it. And then my second question would be, what makes a great game?
Yeah, growing up, I had 2. Cranium was one, and then the other one was Categories. Both very simple to learn, but you can kind of show your different skills, especially Cranium. There's drawing, there's sculpting, there's impersonating things. So it's almost like you getting to show off a little bit of your skills or your knowledge.
And what makes a great game in your mind?
I think it's creating memories that you'll remember forever with your family.
That's a good one.
There's always, there's got to be a little bit of fight, like a little bit of tension with your family too. Like you always love those where it's like, it's competitive, but it's also just like fun and lighthearted.
I agree.
So it's either bringing out laughs or some really competitive thing where it came down to the very last turn or something like that you're going to remember.
Yeah. And how do these things get built? Like you have the idea, you have a designer, but like the what's in the actual box? Like where does that get does it get manufactured somewhere? Is it overseas? Like how does that whole process work?
Yeah, every single piece, everything is designed. The bill of material, what the thickness of the card is, what exact color that you're using, and we work with 2 manufacturers over in China. And they're just outstanding. I just had dinner with them in Nuremberg, and they're, everything is really good quality, and they're just fantastic to work with.
I feel like they just have that down there.
They do. The whole supply chain is
it's just unbelievable. Almost everything we touch came from China or was made or touched somewhere, partly of China, right? So it seems like they've got it down. What and then so design, you guys come up with it, manufacture in China, ship it over here. Is there a certain like bulk volume that you have to buy? And especially when you first got started, was there a certain limits where you had to, hey, you got to buy 1,000 of these, otherwise it's just not even worth it?
Yep. The word is MOQ, minimum order quantity.
Okay.
It ranges usually 1,500 to 3,000 units. And
it's a lot of units when you're starting. And
yeah. Fortunately, we're to the point now where we have built out enough of our sales channels that I'm comfortable ordering like an entire 40-foot container of games, which is, for across the line is like 13,000 units. And it just helps you scale, and the cost per game goes down as you can, fill up a whole container.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure. Just driving your supply costs down. And
Yeah.
Wow. Is it pretty good profit margins?
Yeah. The gross margins can be very good. You can get 50% plus gross margins. Usually my rule of thumb is if you want to be at like your MSRP should be at 5x your cost of goods. So if I'm selling this game for $25, I want to make it for $5 or under.
Do you think there's a bigger reason that you got into games? Like, does it mean something?
Yeah, I loved playing games growing up. I mean, I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan where there's long winters, and there's a lot of family memories of going to my aunt and uncle's house, and they had this huge game cabinet, and we'd always go, raid the cabinet and play together. And so there's a lot of good family memories, and I grew up playing a lot of chess. So
do you think in a lot of cases adults sometimes forget to let their inner child play and to be playful, and that sometimes this can bring it out?
Yeah, that's the way we look at games. This is the medium for you to play, right? So, but you gotta want to do it. You got to make time for it. Yeah, to go and explore. And now there were so many of those like classic games from Hasbro that have come out that, everybody knows. It's the Jengas, Trivial Pursuits. Yeah. But now there are so many options out there that you can get really specific on what you want to do and how you want to play. So
that's true. I've noticed like when I go to if I'm in Meijer or Walmart, wherever we go, we're picking out a new game, let's say. It used to be like kind of the staples were there. You'd have like Monopoly and chess and all that, like the ones that you'd know, category, whatever. But now you go and there's just like, there's a lot more, and there's unique ones. There's stuff like the game of Wolf, it's like, oh, I haven't heard of that. Who makes that? Like it seems like it has. Is that what you've seen too? It's just the whole category is kind of expanded a little bit.
Yeah. There's two sides that have grown a lot. The party game side. So, if you look at the party game section, a lot of those companies are 15 years or younger, like Cards Against Humanity, Exploding Kittens, Relatable. They dominate that party game section. And then the hobby game area has grown a lot because of COVID. A lot of people had to stay home. They look for other ways to entertain themselves, which is board games. And then there's conventions and there's more hobby game stores. So that has exploded. I think there's like 2,000 games that are coming out a year now. So wow, you can get really niche into what you like.
Yeah, I guess that's good, right? Everyone can find a game for them, Yeah. Is there certain people that you found that just naturally prefer games over some people that don't? Because that's kind of been my experience. You get some people are like, let's play a game, and other people are like, I don't play games.
Yeah, I think you had to grow up with it. It was like something you just did with your family or your parents, and now you want to pass that on to your kids or the next generation.
Yeah, it's like a cultural thing or a traditions type thing, right? Yeah. What did you learn about consumer behavior building, games like this? Like there had to have been things that you noticed that you say people tend to like this or not like this, or the way they think about entering into a game or instructions, or any interesting takeaways there? I'm curious.
Yeah, you have to be able to describe the game in like 10 seconds. Why would I like this? Why is this for me? And then even beyond the consumer side, every retailer that looks at this game looks at it a different way, right? Yeah. So a hobby game store, they look at that, they're like, and you tell them it's $24.99. Wow, that's a great price for $24.99. You showed the Walmart buyer, they're like, that's a little high. You showed the TJ Maxx buyer, and they're like, weighs about 2 pounds. That's about $14.99, right?
Dang.
So there's like the consumer side, and then like the B2B side that everyone looks at this same box in a very different way. Yeah.
That's a good one on that. I think, I say the same thing in marketing. If you want to do good content marketing, you've got to be simple and you've got to intrigue the audience.
Yes.
People try to get too complex. They get too confusing. They just try to do too many, they try to sound sophisticated and we're the most pioneering engineering. And it's just like, people don't know what the hell you do. They end up going, I read the whole damn page. I still don't know what you do. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you get too cute in marketing, you can actually market yourself out of the industry. Totally. But then you also got to have something that does have intrigue and that little bit of cuteness to bring people in. Yes. You got to have the wolf on there or the donut that people recognize from K-Cups or the cross the line, so it's a little bit of a balance of being a little bit cute and out of the box, but then also making sure that it is very clear as to what it is. In the gaming world, sounds like just making sure people can understand what it is. Because I think that's part of the purchasing philosophy is they go, do I get this game? And if I don't get this game, I'm not putting it in my cart. And even if I get it, do I get it home? And then it's all of a sudden it's complex. I thought it was easier. It's difficult than we thought. We're spending 15, 20 minutes trying to understand what the damn thing is. And then it just gets thrown on the shelf and you never play.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah. So many inventors and salespeople focus on the gameplay instead of focusing on features and benefits of the game, right? So when you get into the weeds on the gameplay, right, people's eyes start to glaze over versus like, hey, you're going to have a ton of laughs. You're going to get to know each other and you'll learn it in under 5 minutes. Okay. Well,
that's great marketing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing if you're selling, a different B2B service or a product. What is it going to do? What is it going to do for the actual customer? And what's the experience that you're creating? What's the emotional type takeaway they're going to have? That's really what you're selling. You're not, like you said earlier, you're not necessarily selling a game. You're selling an experience, a memory that people can share with their families. That's ultimately what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. When I work with inventors, they want to get directly into the gameplay, and I want to start with like, why is someone going to buy this game?
Yeah.
Think about that first. And the gameplay kind of almost comes second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the gameplay is important, but at the end of the day, you got to sell the game, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned getting it into stores. What's the key to getting into these retail stores? Like, you mentioned TJ Maxx, Meijer, these types of things. You're in thousands of stores. What was that process like? And what are some of the things that helped you get in?
Yeah. So all of the bigger stores have a buyer for that game section. So you really got to get to the buyer. Early days, it was LinkedIn stalking, trying to get to the buyer, or being at the trade shows and trying to get in front of the buyer. Mostly now we do that through our distributor Asmodee, which is the largest board game company in the world. So now my job is more setting them up for success when they get in front of the buyer.
Interesting.
Or, if I'm at a show, maybe we'll do a joint pitch together.
How did you develop that relationship? Because I think there's a lot of crossovers, entrepreneurs listening to that now, where it's not just like, go try to get the next customer. Some of it is just strategic relationships. Yes. How did you build that one?
So the head of Asmodee North America is named Julian Sharp. We shared a beer garden together at the Chicago Toy and Game Fair probably 7 or 8 years ago, and kept the relationship ever since. And then when she moved over to Asmodee, we started talking about how we could work together. And now I think we've been together over 2 years now with Asmodee.
So just getting in front of people,
Getting in front of people, keeping good relationships.
Yeah.
I'd never look at a competitor as like this fierce rivalry. It's like, hey, how could we work together at some point, right?
Yeah.
So always keeping those doors open,
right,
has been really helpful.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons we do this podcast in person. It's just a different experience when you're sitting across from someone versus being on a screen. I was going to ask you that. How do you feel about, screen games, like the game on your smartphone, an Xbox, PlayStation, compared to these in-person games that you guys create?
Part of our mission is to get folks off of screens. And
is it? That's part of your mission?
Yeah. And
that's cool.
And really interacting with each other in a different way. I can see where maybe someone's across the country, or, we can't be together in person, so let's play a game
Right.
interactively or on a screen. But, we both have kids, right?
Yeah.
We know how often they're on screens, and this is just another way to get them back and socializing. And you build so many things you don't even think about when you're playing a game. Strategic thinking, it could be spelling, reading, how to follow directions. So in the social aspect is just, there's so many benefits that people don't even think about when they're playing a board game because they're just having fun.
Yeah. So do you think too much screen time is harming us?
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
What you just said is spot on, because I remember, like, when I look at my kids and they're on a screen or TV or whatever it is, it's almost like, and even myself or anybody, even adults, it's like we're zombies.
Yeah.
Like we're just kind of, you just watch someone that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they're just not, even if they're playing a game, it's just kind of like, it's just like they're almost like, it reminds me of, what's the movie? The Matrix, where like they're plugged into the Matrix and it's just like, they're not even there, and you're like, hey, and they're like, huh? Like they're just completely out of it. Whereas if you play an actual game like one of these that you guys build, you see people open up, you see them laugh, they're engaging, they're aware, they're thinking, they're smiling, they're just present. Yep. It's a completely different experience. Yeah. So do you have like game or screen time limits and that kind of stuff at your house?
Yes.
Are you pretty, what about yourself? Are you conscious of it too? Do you pull out your phone and check stuff?
Yeah. And I still need to get better, but I always just try to leave it out of the room.
Yeah, it's good.
When I'm trying to focus and do focused work, just put it somewhere where you can't even pick it up. Because when you hear the buzzer, right, you want to get that hit. So.
That's what it is too. It's like I find myself, and I'm trying to get better at it too. The putting the smartphone out of your room, I think, is a great hack.
Yeah.
Because if it's out of sight, it's a little bit harder to get to. And it kind of reminds you, all right, it's out of the room for a reason. Like, don't go to the other room and go get it. Leave it on the charger or whatever it is. But it is a challenge because you're kind of like picking up your smartphone and you're like, ooh, what's the little next gem that I get? Is it a good email? Is it social media, posted well? Is it my stocks are up? Is it, I find myself just checking for that stuff. And then I have to remind myself, like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, go live life, enjoy your day, spend time with your loved ones or your clients or whoever, but just be present. And I think, man, that's like a superpower for entrepreneurs, I think, is focus.
Absolutely.
Is discipline and focus. If you can truly, because I think, like, everyone has their same 24 hours in a day, as they say. And everyone, if you're good, you get 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. You take care of your body, obviously. But then we all have that pocket of window to work, whatever that looks like for people. And my thought is, you don't always need to work more. It's just, are you squeezing every ounce you can out of the time? And that doesn't mean working 24/7. It means even with you're working your ass off and focused during the day. So when 4 or 5 o'clock hits, you can actually be present with your kids because you've been so focused and lasered in that you've knocked that shit out.
Yeah.
Versus going into one thing and then you check LinkedIn, you're out, now you're doing that. Then you get an email, you pop into there. That is something I'm really, really focused on for 2026 because I think that makes a massive difference.
Yeah. And it's also just having that plan, right?
Yeah.
So we do a strategic plan every year to start the year. So we know exactly what our goals are. And then boom, we're hitting the ground running. I have it in front of me every day. So I'm staying focused on what's important.
What about social media? Do you think social media has ruined society, or do you think it's been a net positive?
I wouldn't say a net positive. I think if you use it in the right way, it's okay. But if you're just like doom scrolling at night, it's like, especially like the political environment, you can get so fired up and there's not really much you can do about it, right? Like it's just getting you fired up and it's just wasting energy.
That's it, right? Man. I have a loved one. I won't say who they are because they're the only one in my life that are under this name, but she spends too much time, I think, on Facebook getting fired up over political stuff. And I say the same thing. I'm like, just don't even do it. Like, what's the point? Like there's no, to your point, you're not going to convince people that are complete opposite viewpoints of you. And what's the point of even trying to online? Like it's just a drain. It's just an energy drain. You walk away and you feel like that sucked the energy out of me. It was a waste of time. I could have done something way more productive or positive. And there's absolutely no benefit.
Yeah.
But people go back to it.
Yeah. I think if you bring it to like, you're focused on building a community, that can be beneficial. So to give you an example, we work with a ton of different influencers in the game industry. And I've now built out like great relationships, like where I even would call them friends, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in Germany last week, I went out to dinner with Danielle Standring, who's an influencer that, her first video is her chugging milk and playing games. And I was like, this is hilarious. Like I got to meet her. And so we've done so many things together now. So finding those relationships and cultivating community on social media is a great way to do it. Going and doom scrolling and just getting yourself fired up over, political or controversies is a waste of time.
I agree, man. I agree. So many better uses of your time. So let's talk a little bit about marketing and sales, because again, a lot of entrepreneurs, founders listening to the show, I always try to get insights from what are people doing from a marketing standpoint, from a sales standpoint that's helping them grow their company. You mentioned influencers. Yes. Is it worth it to work with influencers?
Absolutely, yes.
And if so, what's the right approach there?
So we like to have a base of influencers that we just have a great relationship with, and we're going to work with them on every game because we just like their content. We like them as a person.
Yeah.
And so we've built out, I would say, a few really core ones that we'll always work with, but we've got a list of maybe 20 to 30 that will, kind of swap in and out. And you got to cast a wide net because you never know what the algorithm's going to do, right? This person's video could have 10,000 views this time, and next time it's 3 million. So when we go out with a game, we want to hit it hard right out of the gates with influencer marketing and try to get, 20 to 30 videos out there and hope that like 2 or 3 hit really, really well.
And what does success look like when you're working with a social media influencer? Like, how do you track? What do you track and how?
Yeah, we're tracking, views and comments, shares, all that good stuff. But then the easiest way to see it is in your sales reports on Amazon and then Target, right? Did it actually have like a sales impact? Mm-hmm. A lot of times then we take those influencer videos and then we'll convert them over to social media ads and meta ads.
Smart.
So then you're looking at click-through rate. The difficult part is on the conversion when you're selling like through Target and Amazon, you can't get the end conversion, right? Because Amazon and Target doesn't share that data. Oh. So you have to go more to like the click-through and cost per click and stuff. So that's the one difficulty when you're not direct to consumer. You're not getting like the full, funnel data.
So how does that work as a vendor on Amazon? I'm curious about that. Like, because you don't get to really control. They kind of have control the ultimate back end. It sounds like.
Yep.
So what do? You just put your QR, your barcode, or whatever it is, your product, and they say we're gonna list it, and if it sells, you got to send it to us, or how does that whole process work?
Yeah, they have a whole back end where you basically set up your product, and then you either have the option of fulfilling it. You send it in, and Amazon fulfills it for you. You can fulfill it yourself through your own warehouse.
What do you guys do?
We typically send it into Amazon, so then it's FBA.
Got it.
And then, that way it can be for Prime members too. But then the third option is actually you can wholesale it to Amazon, and then they sell it on your behalf. But you have no control over your pricing anymore.
Oh, geez.
So that's where we wanted to keep that control, because all of a sudden they discount something and you upset the target buyer, right? Because they undercut the target price.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not able to track if what the videos that they did led to sales if you go through some of those big purchasers. Is that right? Because I'm always looking like the engagement, the click-through rate. There's a lot of good signs. Like, if a video blows up and then you have a bunch of sales, it's like, obviously you can put 2 to 2 together. But I was always curious, is there a direct attribution model where you can say, 72 sales this week came from Michelle, who's one of our influencers? Is that possible or no?
Not if you're using meta ads that are directing it to like Target or Amazon. Now, Amazon has their own, you can do Amazon ads and you can get all that data. But leading it back to the influencer, no. The only one you could really do that on is like TikTok Shop.
Okay. Do you guys sell on there too?
We do.
And you can really correlate if someone came because it's on the TikTok app.
Yep. Because they're getting commission. So you know exactly how many they're selling. Yeah.
What's been your best channel for sales in terms of social media? Or even Amazon included? Like, what's the number one? If you had to rank the top 1, 2, or 3.
Social media, I'd say Instagram. Yeah.
Interesting. For organic
Reels.
For
Instagram
organic
Reels.
or ads or both?
For both.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I say organic, just so the audience knows, I mean just posting it with no ad spend or anything like that. Just you have an account, the influencer post it on their normal page, and you just see what happens. And it sounds like for you, which I think is a really good strategy, that the social media ad strategy is let's post organically first. Let's see if it does well with the audience. If it does, we do get a big hitter. Well, we know it works. That's our validation right there. So now we don't have to waste money, put it into something and hope it works, which is how kind of people ran ads like 10 plus years ago. It's just you put something together, good creative, good copy, you put it out there, you spent money and you hope it works. Now we can see what works first. Yep. And then we just take whatever works and we put some gasoline behind it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So Instagram's number 1. What would be number 2, you'd say?
I would say TikTok in terms of the impressions that you're getting, because you can have a small following with an influencer, but they can have some big hits on videos. But I think the conversion isn't as high on TikTok as it is on Instagram. I think the Instagram followers been more trained to like, okay, I'm going to buy based on this, versus the TikTok viewers more like, I'm here for entertainment or for news. But I see that starting to change a little bit now that TikTok Shop is starting to grow.
Yeah. I had the founder of Dude Wipes, Sean Riley, on the show, and I know they're big into, this is last year, and they do a good amount of business on TikTok. TikTok and Amazon are their 2 big hitters.
I'm sure.
And the TikTok Shop does quite well. Yeah. Are social media influencers a potentially good option for any type of business? Like if I wanted to bring people, and obviously consumer goods it's great for and things like that. There are certain like niches where like this makes sense. What about if I wanted to bring out an influencer to promote this podcast? And if I was going to do that, what do you look for in a social media influencer? How do you know if they're good or not? Because maybe they have 100,000 followers, but they don't sell shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have 50 or 20,000 followers and they sell through the roof because they actually have a bought in audience. How do you know?
I think you have to find just content that really resonates with you and your business. There's some game influencers that might have a huge following, but they just don't resonate with our brand or our business. And then it's just building really a more long-term relationship with that person. If you're looking at it as like a transactional thing, like, oh, I hope I get this ROI on this one video, that's not going to happen. Right. You have to build something real that's going to sustain over time. So if I was in your shoes, I would say, hey, you know what? Here's 2 or 3 people I'd really like to work with, and I'm going to put the time in with them, and let's build something together. Versus like, hey, here's a script and $500 make this video. That's terrible. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think the biggest mistake that companies make too with social media influencers is they try to have them do things that don't align with their values and their brand. Yeah. And to what you just said, if you can find someone that really aligns, where it seems like a natural fit. And I get hit up all the time for people like, if you do the TikTok or you do an LinkedIn post, and I'm like, I don't resonate with that. First of all, I'm not like an influencer. Secondly, I don't resonate with a lot of those products and services. But if there is something that I use a lot and it's exciting to me and I believe in, well, then it's easier to do because it just fits my brand. It's not, I'm Alex here and then I'm doing this left field or right field product that doesn't really make sense for what I normally talk about. I think the forced influencer videos is kind of what you're talking about that just don't really land.
Yeah, I think a lot of the big brands will be like, here's this script and here's all like the exact talking points and there's all these guardrails. And it just takes away their creativity.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, here's our brand book. Here's the game. Go do your thing. Like, I'm bringing you on because I trust what you do. And I know that you know your audience better than I do.
That's so brilliant,
Right?
man. I really think so. Because you what businesses have to remember is these are creators.
Yes.
Like they're creative human beings. They're a painter, a musician, a social. It's all the same, just different mediums and formats. They want to be able to express themselves and the product or the service, whatever it is, the way that they want to do it. Whether that's a skit video or they're unboxing it or they're demonstrating it, drinking milk. You got to let them do them, and you're going to get the best.
Yeah.
You're going to get the best content that way.
Totally.
Because if I hate the forced script stuff, dude. It's just, nobody wants to read off that stuff. And usually the script sucks anyways.
Yeah.
You know?
Our largest video, the person had 1,200 followers maybe. And they ended up playing our game called Slip It In. And they just played it in line at Disneyland with their friends.
Wow.
And I would have never said like, yeah, that's a good idea.
No.
And it had like 7 million views or something.
Wow. When it comes to like how you format the pay structure and that type of stuff, do you look at like their reach, their follower count, that type of stuff? Is that kind of where they fit in terms of how much you would pay somebody?
Yeah, usually I ask for like their stats and then their rate sheet. And if they're a seasoned influencer, they already have that stuff and they just send it over.
There you go.
And if we can find something reasonable, like where we can work together, then we'll do it. If they want something astronomical, I won't even go back to be, they want 10 grand. I'm not going to go back and be like, hey, will you do this for $1,000? Right. Like,
Right.
I think when you work with enough, you just know, what the prices should be, what's reasonable.
Yeah.
What happens with a lot of some of the larger influencers is they get in with these agencies and then their prices go to, tens of thousands of dollars for a video. And there's just no way you're ever going to make any ROI.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's like finding the balance of like they've got enough of an engaged following, where they can reach people and make an impact, but they're not too big to where it's like, yeah, it'll cost you 10 grand for a video. It's like, Jesus, right? I didn't think we'd ever could make that way back. It's like almost impossible.
Impossible.
Wow. So you would say that social media influencers have made a pretty big impact on your brand and product and sales and things like that. Do you guys do your own content and stuff like that? Do you try to kind of mimic what the influencers do internally?
We've tried a little bit, but it takes up a lot of time, to be honest.
Does, yeah.
We're not good at it. So we leave it to the pros and focus on what we're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to the last couple of years, I'm going to kind of go back now to a little bit more about your journey. I was just genuinely curious about, one more thing I wanted to ask you about, because this is all just like me being curious, honestly, just being interested. What, from a sales perspective, we talked about marketing. What have you learned from a sales perspective coming into these boardrooms and meeting with, companies or buyers, distributors, whatever it is? What are kind of some of the sales? I know you probably did some of it in the M&A strategy, that kind of stuff, but is there any like one or two things that stick out that you think entrepreneurs can learn from how you approach sales?
Well, first of all, it's not going in and saying, here's my stuff, here's what I got. It's, hey, what's working for you? What's not? Understanding what are their needs, right? And then I can cater that pitch to, hey, I think this game is a fit for you based on what you're looking for. So I always go in the approach of being curious and asking questions before I just jump into a pitch. But then it's understanding from the buyer, from the sales team at Asmodee, what are they looking for, and making sure that that is what is driving our product development. So I won't even start developing a game until I've gotten the Asmodee sales team to be like, yeah, that's something we could bring to Walmart or Target.
Interesting.
So it starts at the product development side. And then when you're going in to a pitch, then it's just, let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
And show them the magic of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you kind of demo it and try to get them involved? And
So you want to hear a good story?
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Right,
yeah.
So we have our first ever pitch with the Walmart buyers at this big show called Gen Con. And so the Asmodee salesperson's like, they're going to be there at 3:00 at your booth. Be ready to show them cross the line. I was like, all right. So it's like 2:59, and we had inventors from some of our other games in the booth signing autographs. I'm like, this is perfect. We got some like live energy at the booth. So one of the inventors has like a liter of like root beer or something, opens it up, explodes all over the booth. Like literally like a fountain of pop just exploding everywhere. So I'm like running to get paper towel, cleaning up. Our designer's like, Joe, the Walmart buyers are at the booth. Like I'm like sweating, and they thought it was hilarious. Like like,
that's funny.
The buyers are real people. Like they're just like me and you, like just having fun. So then, we got a laugh out of that, and then we played Cross the Line, showed them, demoed the game for them, and like, psh, next thing you know, we're gonna be on the shelf.
Wow, of Walmart.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Is that currently or happening soon?
That's Cross the Line.
Oh, that's the May one?
Yep.
Wow, that's huge, man. That's a big time deal. What about what's one that went terribly wrong? Like what's a sales conversation or a deal that just went horribly wrong? Maybe early on even too.
I don't know if it was sales, but in terms of, we had one of our early games go into Target, and we just didn't really know what we were doing in terms of packaging and the pricing and everything. Like it just wasn't a fit. It was doomed from the beginning. And I just didn't have enough industry knowledge to like know what's a reasonable forecast. And, you're just trusting in the retailer. You're trusting in your distributor. And we way over ordered the games. We got in cash trouble. The game like went in and out within a few months, and that was, 2018. And, once you have a really bad experience with that target or with that buyer, and no matter where it is, they don't want your next game. Right.
Yeah.
So once you get a game in, you have to perform well, or they don't want your next one. The opposite, if it does really well, okay, what's next, right? So
totally,
it can go,
I can see if it
strong
flops
one way or the other.
It flops, and then you're like, I got another idea. They're like, no thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
So once it is actually in store and you get it in the actual shelves, how much of the sales is depending on you and maybe the influencers and bringing awareness to to tell people to go buy it versus what's just like putting it on the shelf and hoping people buy? Because that seems like it'd be tough. Like in the wall full of games, I put a new one. I'm like, do people even notice that shit?
So what I've learned, when you get on the shelf at Walmart or Target, you're not winning by 2 touchdowns. You're down by 5 touchdowns already, right? Like you're now up on a shelf with 50 other games, and you're, Monopoly's 3 feet away, Scrabble's 2 feet away, these games that have been known for generations. So how do you get people to go there and pick up your game? So big thing is the packaging, right? It's got to be interesting. It's got to want them to pick up the game, and then the back of it's got to tell a story in 30 seconds and sell it.
So how did you think about Cross the Line, that front of the box being interesting enough for people to see it and go, what is this?
Yeah, I think both with the packaging, very bright colors, the title stands out, and then like a cool line of like, oh, some lines are meant to be crossed. Like, oh, what's that? What's that about? Right?
Yeah.
Little edge to it. And then you pick up the back of the game, and it's just very, very simple description of why is this fun? And then how, 4 steps, how do you play?
So going back to simplicity,
simple,
but still intriguing enough to get someone to want to watch it. So it says here, how good of a dancer are you? How bad is your road rage? What did your report card look like as a kid? And Cross the Line, you'll answer boldly, honest, occasionally awkward, and always entertaining questions by secretly choosing your answer on a sliding scale. Think they know, think again. If they can cross your line, they score. The broader they bet, the more they start to gain or lose. Whether you're calling out your roommate's pizza preferences or discovering your cousin's karaoke competence, Cross the Line is the ultimate game for getting to know each other and laugh while doing it. Very cool. And then, yeah, you're right. The flip side, or the other side of the back of the box, is just how to play. I don't know if, I haven't looked at games, I guess, closely enough, but I don't remember them laying it out this clearly. I think a lot of them are like, how does it work? And you're just like step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
You probably learned that that's the most helpful way to do it. Yeah, that's really cool. And I do agree. I think the colors pop. I think the Cross the Line, you get a little bit of again, edginess to it, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can show you afterwards, but the game is very visual.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's on social media, there's like this visual like reveal at the end.
Now, have you guys ever thought about doing like putting a QR code and like scanned it to watch, a 15-second video of how it's played or something?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a bad idea or a good idea. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have in the past.
Yeah. Do you find that works or?
Not as much as you'd think.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
I don't know. I feel like people make that decision just on like looking at the back of the box.
Yeah. I also think it's probably hard to tell, like, what do you put in the video? Because it can't be like 60 people are going to watch it. It'd have to be a quick video. And then I don't know. I think it probably is better just to stick with, in this case, what it looks like on the box and explaining it.
Yeah.
Let them experience the box.
Yeah.
Now, is it helpful to put like a see-through box on there or something? Have you guys tried that stuff where they can see all the stuff, or is that not really?
Yeah. Our last game, Rhymes with Duck, actually has a transparent screen where you can see the like rubber duck in the game.
Yeah.
His name's Chuck.
There's like a prop or something to kind of show it.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so going back to you guys in the first couple years, I'm curious your mindset as a founder, when you're building this business, did it start off as a little bit of a side hustle, hobby, kind of like, let's see what we can do with it. And then at some point it got serious. Was there a specific moment that you remember where you're like, this is going to be a legit business and I'll be able to, quit my job? Because assuming you're working your full-time job at the time and you're building this on the side, or no? Or did you quit your job to do this full-time?
I was creating our first game, You Betcha, while working.
Right.
So then after we kickstarted it and had a successful launch, then I left my job, but then I still took on like consulting roles and found other ways to
make money.
Yeah. The way I describe it is, I get married and 2 years later I leave my job. So we cut our income in half basically. Right.
Right.
Then 2 years later we have kids, then another kid. So then we doubled our expenses. Right.
Right.
So if you can get through that with your spouse,
you
can get through anything.
There are some challenges.
Now that's gotten better, but so we've gone through those sacrifices and done all that. So
did you guys have to make lifestyle changes, like real big ones?
Nothing major. It helped a little bit that COVID, you couldn't really do anything anyway, like go on vacation or
no shit,
things like that. But things were tight. We were, finding ways to find money that typically, you can borrow from your 401k for 60 days as long as you pay it back. Then you don't have to pay the taxes on it. Like things like that of like getting tricky of, finding ways to finance your business.
Now, did you or your wife ever think of consider you going back to work, leaving entrepreneurship, going back to the W-2 world?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And how close did it get?
Pretty close.
Really?
Yeah.
Resumes out there you're interviewing?
Oh, yeah.
No? Really?
Oh, for sure.
What pulled you back?
We grew pretty well in 2023. We had a big customer that we got in with. And I think from 2020 to last year, we doubled our sales every year for about 5 years. So we're now in a good spot. And so it's not a concern.
Yeah. So now there's no going back now. No going back to W-2 world.
Not for now. No.
You never know.
Not for now.
What's your biggest selling game?
Our largest selling game is called Slip It In.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah. So it's a game.
That's the Disney World line where they're in line playing it. Okay.
So it's a game you can play anywhere, anytime. So you hand everyone 5 slips and they have the most random phrases you could ever think of on them, like pocket jerky. Has anyone told you have nice calves? And then throughout the day, you have to try to slip these into your conversation without getting busted.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they don't know what the word or phrase is.
They don't know what they are. Yeah.
But it's going to be kind of weird, right? So they're going to be looking for it.
So you got to get really clever about it.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that. Where do you buy that?
Target, Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Slip it in.
Well, I should have brought you one.
No, that's fine. There's so many to choose from. You can't possibly have known which. Yeah. And I'm sure these are amazing too. We'll play all of them. But That just seems kind of like creative and fun.
Yeah, because
You know?
you can play, anytime, anywhere. It's just take it on a road trip to the bar.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just hope you don't, I mean, it's kind of fun if you do, but if you get a really out there one, that's
Yeah.
harder to obviously slip it in than
Yeah.
you have nice calves. You might be able to pull that off. You might just, anyone ever told you have really nice calves?
We had someone so when we were at a convention called Gamma, and we had 200 people playing the game at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy went up to another guy in line. He's like, has anyone ever told you really nice calves? And the guy just kind of like looked back at him. He's like, how can you tell? I'm wearing jeans. Like he wasn't like.
That's not the best one. Yeah.
No.
So what if someone says a phrase, but it's not their thing, and you guess and you say, because you just say like, hey, is that your phrase? Is that what you do during the game? If you say,
Yeah.
you have really nice calves, and I go, is that your phrase?
Yeah.
But what if I'm wrong? What if you just said it that, do I lose for guessing if I'm not correct?
So if you call me out and I wasn't trying to slip it in,
Yeah.
then you have to draw another card.
Oh, so now I got to do 2 slip-ins.
Now you get, now 6 if you have all 5 cards.
Oh, okay. Oh, you draw. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so when I say my phrase, I have to wait 30 seconds for someone to call me out and bust me
Okay.
before I can say, hey, I slipped it in.
Okay. So you could also throw out wacky ones to try and trick people, though, right?
You can.
So
If you want to be that guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'd almost go into it being like, let's not, like, you can't throw out shit, like weird shit all throughout the
Yeah.
day. Like, you really can't. Otherwise, you could just constantly be like, the sun is shining today, or your calves are nice. You could just throw in a bunch of stuff, make
Sure.
people guess, and then they'd never know which the one is. I'm trying to hack the game, but I think that takes the fun out of it, right?
Yeah.
You just got to go into it being like, just be your normal self,
Right.
and you got to slip these phrases in.
Totally.
Yeah, that's fun. Wow, such a simple game.
Yeah. My favorite story so far of the game is someone sent me this Reddit post that like blew up on Reddit. Their entire family did speeches at their wedding, and they all drew a slip it in card that they had to slip into their speech.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like the groom was pretty pissed off about it because he knew what they were doing as he was doing it, because he knew some of the phrases.
Right.
And it was like, should I be mad at my family? And everyone was like weighing in, like, oh, cut them some slack. You know,
That's awesome.
They were just making a game out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the dream store, or are there any more? Are there any dream stores that you still want to get into, or any like dream, opportunities to get your games in front of?
I think the dream right now is to do some international expansion. So that show that I was at in Germany last week was really to just get it out into some other countries and start to localize some of our games. We've hit most of the major stores in the United States and Canada. So now it's just looking for where else we can put it.
Expansion.
Yeah.
And obviously doing more. If you're in a Walmart for, let's say, across the line, are you in every single store?
It depends. Sometimes they'll do test stores. And then if it does well, it goes to full chain. That's how that one is starting. It's also going earlier. So every major retailer has set dates. So typically it's in January where they reset the whole store. And then sometime in the fall, August, September, where they reset for the holiday. So this one's actually going early before a set date. So they couldn't fully do every store.
Now, will in the first couple weeks of sales how well it's doing, or is there some that don't do anything the first couple weeks, then blow up, 2 months later?
You get a pretty good read early on how it's performing, but you really want to be strong right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in, let's say, August on the shelf, that buyer is making a determination whether you're going to be on for next year in like December or January. So you have like 4 or 5 months to prove out the sales. So it's a lot of pressure. Like I said, you're down 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
I've heard that with big box retail. It's like it's tough to get in, and then even if you get in, you really got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
What that shelf space is valuable, right?
Very.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the goal with the business is to one day sell it?
Sell it or give it to my girls.
Mm.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of a fun business for them to, if one of them's interested, to
Yeah.
take over at least, maybe both of them. Who knows?
They love board games, and they're always coming up with ideas, and so it could be fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun industry to be in too.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Yeah.
And what's the game of life for you?
The game of life.
Yeah. Like if you're playing if life is a game,
Yeah.
what would it be for you? Like, what's it all about?
Just enjoying every day, making the best out of every day with whoever you're in front of, right? With us right here, like, let's make the best out of it. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And my pack is my 3 girls at home, my wife and my 2 girls. So, trying to make the best for them every day.
I guess it's not that different than the actual game. Have some fun, have some laughs, think a little bit, test your creativity.
Yeah.
Enjoy every second.
Yeah. And I think with the business, it's all been about relationships. Our rep groups, our distributor, our marketing, it's all people I love to work with, and we enjoy each other's company. Like, we're each other's favorites. When I go to New York Toy Fair, it's let's go out to dinner, let's go out to lunch, let's go have fun together.
Yeah.
But we're always working our butts off otherwise. So, I'm just a relationship person, never been transactional. And I think that might be difficult early on in a business, but when you want to have longevity and staying power and a brand, like I am the brand of Gray Matters Games. You got to be building relationships from day one.
Love that.
Yeah.
Joe, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Where can people learn more about what you guys do, Snatch the Games? What do you want to plug here?
Yeah, you can find all our games on graymattersgames.com, and it shows all the retailers that we work with. I always encourage go to your local game store too. They work so hard and they know the games really well. Yeah, you can learn a little bit more about us and our team on there too. And
I think some people don't even know there is a local game store. They got to Google that and find them.
Yeah,
right. They're out there, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some great ones in the Chicago area.
Yeah,
too.
I saw on your guys' map where you have the games at, and I was like, oh, I don't even recognize this place, but yeah, there's lots of them. And like you said, they're passionate about it, so they're gonna help you.
They sure are.
Yeah, very cool, man. We'll link everything in the description. And again, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
Cheers, bud.